Good morning everyone. So today we're at a Volkswagen Tiguan and this is a 2-litre TDI 2010-2011 model. So the customer's complaint with this one is the DPF light is on, the engine management light is on, and the glow plug light is flashing. So we've done a full system scan. And you can see in engine electronics, we have a P0544 diesel particulate filter soot accumulation, a P0544 exhaust gas temperature sensor circuit bank 1, driver door electronics, needing a bulb, vehicle electronic system control module, don't know, brake button. Well, these buttons used to be problematic. I remember taxi drivers going on about them quite a lot. I don't know if this one is, but there is it there. So let's go in and we'll find out in here what the engine code is. So this is handy, save you hunting about for the thing. I don't know, have we found the engine code? Well, it's a 2-litre. No, this one's not giving me the engine code. No to worry, let's go in. So we'll read the DTCs again. So soot and exhaust gas temperature. Let's look at live data by list. So we'll go to, just type in soot. Nothing. DP, nothing. I'll go diff. Okay. Well, obviously we're sitting here. Key on, engine off, so there's not a lot there. So let's go back. I'll go temperature. Temperature. So temperature will be one of these ones. Temperature prior to particle filter, prior, temperature. Just like take coolant. I don't think we want any of the rest, so go OK. So some of them are blank, some of them are 66, 36. So let's graph these. That one seems quite low. Engine started. I still haven't got a particle reading as such. Oh, that's quite high, 2564. Well, we're getting a blank on this one. Maybe this is the one it's complaining about. So there's 2564 pascals. So is that 2 psi? Let me work that out. So that actually is only 0.3 psi. So if we take this up to 2,500, so that's just over a psi. That's no bad at all. So I don't know. Let's look at this code again. We'll go and get a wiring diagram. So it's exhaust gas temperature circuit bank 1. Could be any of them. Let's look at a wiring diagram. There's some readings for the particle filter. So it says amount of carbon, which is soot. It specifies 41, but you can see it's only got 8 in it. So I reckon if we can get the temperature sensor to work, that'll clean itself. And it says amount of ash by volume 0.15. So this is a little 2-litre diesel engine. Let me see if I can see an engine code. No. I don't know what engine code this is. Well, no worry. Alright, pal. But here's the thing after working on an N75 valve. Please remember this because I got caught out. So here's the N75 valve, it controls the turbo. So the top one is the vent. The middle one is, oh, see that middle pipe there? That goes to the turbo actuator. And the bottom one, which is a thinner one, that comes up to here, that comes up to the pump. So that's your supply, that's your vacuum. So it's the bottom one, it's your vacuum, the middle one's the turbo, and the top one's your vent. Please remember that, because that would have saved me a rake of time if I knew that. So we went and looked at all data to see how many exhaust temperature sensors are on this. So number 15 here, that's on the manifold, that's number 1. We then have number 3, which is number 12 here, on top of the DPF, I believe. And then number 14 is number 4. Hits at the back. So that's like, well, that'll be downstream. And that's right, so that's upstream, and that's downstream. And they've all got various, so that's 12, 14 and 15. So let's see, 12 is 495, 14 is 648, and 15 is G235. So I need to go back to the scan tool and see exactly what one it's complaining about. Now this is for the 4Motion. I'll need to check, see if we have got the 4Motion. But I think that's the right engine code, so let's go and check that again. So going back to the data, you can see that, I think this is the way it goes. So that must be number 2 sensor. That must be number 3 and number 4 sensor. So the very fact that we're drawing a blank there, you think it'd be one of these. But then it's a P0544, so you think it'd be number 4. So no sure. And that's temperature 1 and 2. If it ends in 1 and 2 there. So let's go into generic OBD and see if that's any difference. But I'll let you see number 1 sensor. The number 1 sensor, I've got my light today. So there's number 1 sensor right there. That looks like a pain to get out. So thank goodness, well, let's hope it's not that one. So generic OBD we're now into, but you can see that's just a P0544. So you can see that never really helped us any to give us the number of the thing. So let's go back. When the freeze frame would help. No, freeze frame doesn't help either. Let's read live data. I don't think we'll get any of the G codes here. No, that'll not help either. No. Let's go and get the little hotel tool, that should help. Or maybe even, I'll try the snap-on first because that's there. Oh, there's the snap-on difference. So this is sensor 1, exhaust gas temperature bank 1, the G235, and that's generating the code P0544. G235. So we're going to data. Well, it still doesn't show you the numbers, but exhaust gas temperature in front of turbo boost, that's 18 degrees, which seems low. Exhaust gas temperature before oxidization cat 102. So I'd imagine, is that a 235? Maybe the other two need to be over 100 degrees before they kick into life. Let's go back to all data and see what 235 is. So here we go. Exhaust gas temperature sensor 235. Number 1 sender, and that's that one right there. Right in at the top. Here goes. Now I think the one that my stockist has, he says it's the one before the turbo, so I would imagine that's number 1. So you can see here that I'm just graphed the 4 of them. So 102, and this one's doing 18. So let's rev her up and see if she should be higher than 18. And these two have never came to life. I don't know what numbers they are. Some of them don't come to life until they hit 100 degrees. No. After a couple of minutes he's getting up to 126, but he is not moving. And funnily enough, the Autel gives us a different code. It gives us a 01348 exhaust gas temperature circuit bank 1. So let's go through the PIDs of this thing. So live data, advanced measure values. Now, I didn't actually know this had a search function on it. It was Dave Sterling, my mate, told me. After all these years, I hadn't a clue. So exhaust, no, we better type, no, what's exhaust? No, it's no exhaust. You can see this button here. We'll type temperature. So let's see what we have here. So what I have here is just 4 PIDs, temperature prior to turbocharger. We're blaming this one, so let's see if that gives us any more info on what it is. So it doesn't tell you what it is either. Selected. Let's see what this one says. Information. No. So it doesn't give me the G numbers. So we're going after that one anyway. So fingers crossed. We've got another number here. Temperature prior to particle filter 96. Temperature prior to particle pre-catalytic converter. So that's the downstreams. Is that 3 and 4? And this must be number 1. I see he's moving. He seems about right. And he's still. So what I'm going to do is, see that one, it reads 18. Let's go and disconnect the multi-plug. So the multi-plug is up here. Let me disconnect that, see what difference that makes to our figures. Good job, I checked that. So that brown one is actually temperature prior to pre-catalytic converter. So see, it's at 930, so plug it back in. Watch that figure there. We plugged the back in, it's went back to 102. So that's not our culprit. That's that one that goes in there, so there's the next one about. The orange one, which goes down the back, I've unplugged that. You can see that relates to temperature prior to particle filter, so that's now reading, sorry about this daylight, 930. So it's not that one either. Oh, where do we go now? Maybe it's this one. Now I've disconnected this black one. You can see none of my figures are moving, so that must be a default value at 18. So I wonder if I could put a little resistor in there and get that to move. I was going to try the decade box, I had that all set up, but the new part arrived, so I said this was the most common one, so hopefully that is it. Black, so we'll put it in and see what our reading is after this, after we clear the code. Still staying at 18, which should make you think that's not quite right. You think we'd have some, unless I need to clear the code first. Let's clear it and see if we can get a change. So go back, go back, see if the trouble code's moved. So it's went to, so wait, new passive spirit, that's because I've disconnected the rest. 444. You can see that's never went to passive. Let's go back in the car. Active static, then it's went to passive. 3's active static, then it's went to passive. Bank 1's never changed, so let's escape out of that. I'll just go clear DTC. Oh, the scan tool's jammed up. So you can see, even with that new sensor plugged in, but it's not into the, it's not installed, I still can't get that to change from 18 degrees. And the other two are working fine. And they were 3 and 4. So this one must be 1. So we got a wee wiring issue here. So the code did clear, so we're just now left with a P0544. So I'm beginning to wonder if the wiring's chaffed. So let's go and measure the voltage on that circuit.
So I'm into the ground side of that wire. You can see the brown side. So you can see I'm reading 2.14 millivolts. So if I take my probe and go to battery positive, I should read battery voltage in reverse. So that's correct. I'll then go back and read the voltage on the other side. So we have 3.54 volts. So let's unplug that and see what we have after that. Unplugged it and we still have 3.54 volts. So does this remain open circuit till it hits a certain temperature? Maybe it's got to be in situ. Don't know. So with my decade box installed at 1000 ohms, I'm now reading 1.822 volts. So let's see what the scan tool says. So that's the one. So the scan tool says we're now at 456 degrees prior to the turbo. After all that, that's the one we want to change. So go and let's unplug that. I bet it defaults to 18 degrees. In fact, what we'll do, we'll just go into here and we'll short circuit it and look, see what it does. So there we go. We're now at 900 degrees. We'll go to 2000 ohms. We're now at 384 degrees. So I'll just keep you. So 3000 ohms, 348, 4000, 5000. That's at 9,000 ohms. So indeed that's a problem. So there's nothing wrong with the wire. Let's change that sensor and get out of here. I was questioning myself was, why is this when it's an open circuit, it's only reading 3.45? So I thought I'd go into the orange one, which is a, I don't know if that's 3 or 4, don't know, but hex is exactly the same, 3.33, so that's right. I thought I would be seeing 5 volts there, but instead I see that, so change the sensor. In fact, this sensor is the one under there, it goes into the manifold. Now this sensor is a pain in the neck to do. You have to cut the wire, then you put an 8mm socket over this, and you've got to do this for underneath, wiggle it so you can break it. Then you get a 17mm socket and you can do it for the top, undo it. We're now in the process of trying to put the new one back on, and it's worse trying to get it back on and taking the old one off, because then you need a kind of angled 17mm socket to get this back on, and you're squeezed between the turbo. So this is no for the faint-hearted. This, there's see, we just cut. There's all the stuff there. Just cut it up to get it off. So the new sensor is fitted, the G235. That was painful to get it, by the way. Roddy ended up having to go underneath and using an open-ended spanner to install this thing. No easy. Anyway, you can see that our code has now moved to intermittent rather than permanent or whatever it was before. So let's look at the sensor 4. So that's intermittent because that was disconnected. So let's go back and look at our temperatures. So we'll go data. I'll bring them up. So this car is cold, so you can see exhaust gas temperature in front of turbo 18, exhaust gas temperature in front of turbo boost 18, exhaust gas temperature before particles blank, exhaust gas temperature after particles blank, and exhaust gas temperature before oxidation 36. So let's heat this up. I don't know if there's a functional test in this for a regen. We'll see this one's jumped up to 42 already. So let's rev it. I think we're into a winner already. Look, we're already responding. So that was the one that was replaced. So he's up at 100, whatever he's at, 144. So I would say we're all good. So let's get a regen done on this thing, and then we should be good to go. So let's see if we can do a regen. So we're going to functional tests, special functions, DPF regeneration function if fitted. Let's try it. So continue. Right, let's go to check. Engine code, I think it's CBAB. So minimum suit build up before regen 45 grams. I've not got that. Minimum distance before 400 kilometers. Minimum time before regen 40 hours. Well, let's just go continue. Continue. Right, allow it to end without interference. Now drive for 5 minutes in 4th or 5th gear at approximately this. Okay, I need to take it a run. Now I've drove it for 5 minutes in order for it to calculate the load. So let's see what she said. Actual suit is 9 grams, specified suit count is 41. Do not attempt the regeneration if either value exceeds 45 grams, so it does not. So we'll continue it. Will be activated when the vehicle exceeds 20 kilometers per hour. Drive with 4th or 5th gear, avoiding any major accelerator or deceleration. This will achieve best results. Generation will be active as long as the defect is above the cluster. Regeneration will be active as long as the DPF lamp in the cluster is lit. To be able to subsequently erase and DPF faults, the end loading must be less than 10%. So let's continue. Store adaptation value. The light's still on here anyway. So just go continue. So here we go. So the lamp's still on, so it says vehicle is regenerating. Continue with drive cycle until lamp extinguishes or level falls to acceptable. So here we go. So as we drive along the road, you can see our numbers are getting down now to 7.8. That's a good sign. Down the way is good. So I've been driving for 10 minutes, and you can see our actual soot content's down at 0 grams and our specified soot content's down at 32. So vehicle is regenerated. Continue to drive until the lamp extinguishes. So the lamp has not extinguished yet, or the level falls to an acceptable limit. So we'll just hit continue. So the light's still flashing, so let's just cycle the key. See if this has cleared it. No, it's no. So maybe I can go in. Let's see if I can clear the codes. Go back. Codes only. So intermittent. So this should clear now. So go back. So clear codes. Continue. Codes only. No codes. Cycle key off. Cycle key back on. And we still have a DPF light on. Service now, how come? Codes only. So we've got no codes. Let me see, so go to functional test, go in special function. Let's keep going with this regen. So another 5-minute drive, and let's see, it says allow car idle. Let's see what it says this time. Allow it to engine to idle for 30 seconds, so it'll calculate the load. So maybe I'm mad, but it says actual soot content is 0 grams. The specified soot content is 30 grams. Do not attempt regen if either value exceeds 45 grams. So we still have to keep driving this, even though it says there's actually nothing in it. Right, as you can see, good news, the light has eventually went out. Now I had to do that, and obviously never drove it enough, but I thought when it got to actual 0 grams that had been fine, but I had to wait till the specified got to 23 grams. Then it was only when I put the car off and put it back on, so it then cleared the light, so that's good news. Let's see. Oh, it does that again, but anyway, I'll just show you, I'm not faking you. There we go, all lights are gone.